The Connections podcast is sponsored by Cheyenne Video, the electric and solar specialist, and Elevate Studios. With special thanks to our Patreon sponsors, Pro Bros with Nick and Dina Inglet, Gabriel Piña with Piña Business Services, Desiree Lopez with Growley Bear Bakery, Melissa Munoz with Majestic Butterfly Beauty Salon, and Angel Cruz with Toilets on the Go.
How are you?
Great, how about yourself, Lynn?
Good. So you is this your first time running then?
Yes. Yeah, this is completely new to the political scene.
Well, welcome.
Appreciate
I guess I'm not in it, so I can't welcome you, right? But I'll speak for it. Welcome.
Appreciate it.
What made you get into it now?
Well, it's something I've always thought about doing, but it was always like someday in the future. It's just kind of the craziness that 2020's been. I was honestly thinking about doing it maybe 2 years from now and like really making a plan and thinking ahead, which is something I'd rather do. But with some of the problems that we've seen, the state's budget problems, coronavirus issues and things like that, I thought, man, I need to do it now. And even though I know I'm not ready, I need more preparation, but it's now. Now's the time. You got to kind of
Adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
That's something I've always been like, if you're nervous about making a phone call, that's probably the phone call you need to make. So probably it's similar circumstances here. So what made you want to run for House District 42 instead of anything else?
Well, I've always loved, I grew up in Wyoming. I went away from the military. I was gone about 15 years-ish.
Thank you for that.
Oh, man, appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was an honor to serve. The whole time I was away, even, in some not so nice countries, and even in, other parts of America, which have their own charm. I lived in North Carolina for 7 years, loved it, beautiful state. But in all that time, I always held Wyoming up as like, man, Wyoming is the promised land. That's my home. That's where I'm going back to. That's the place. Yeah. And I always had this idealized Wyoming in my mind. And I moved back, and it seems like we've drifted from that. The Wyoming I held in my mind was 1990s Wyoming. And I was kind of shocked at how big the Wyoming state government has grown. And I don't think that's the right way to go. I'm a small government conservative. I believe that individuals make the best choices for themselves, and I just don't think that a big government is the way to go for Wyoming. So I feel like I can do the most good in the state legislature. I can be another small government conservative vote to help. There's some folks in there that are trying really hard to get our budget under control, and I'd just like to help them out.
I like that. That's a good answer right there. He came highly recommended from Mr. Joe Shogren to come on this show.
Great guy.
Yeah, Joe, I haven't known him for long, but he's been really solid every time I've ever ran into him. And it seems like he does a lot of good work for the community. So.
He's amazing. He loves Cheyenne. He puts his heart and soul into helping the town out. And anybody that's down on their luck can call Joe, and he does a lot of personal sacrifices to help out his neighbors. If everybody in the world was like Joe Shogren, there would be no problems at all.
I like that. Well, Joe, when you will be listening at some point to this, congratulations on that, sir. That's pretty cool to have someone say that. So, what would separate you from these other candidates that are running?
Well, specifically my opponent, he's been in there for a long time. He's on record voting for increased taxes. He's fully, bigger government, more taxes type of guy. He's very professional. If you think Wyoming's on the right track and you want to keep going the direction we're heading, and keep the size of government we got, make it go a little bit bigger, my opponent is your guy. What sets me apart is if you're the type of person who thinks that smaller government is better, And, if you think you pay enough taxes already and you really don't want to pay a whole lot more, I'm your guy. That's kind of the biggest difference between the two of us right there.
See, and I like that. This is why I like doing this connection stuff right there, because it gives, people the opportunity to see their candidates right there. That's probably more of a rundown than they know at all about you guys, right there. So that's really cool. If elected, are you gonna try? Is that gonna be the spot that you want to stay in, or if not elected, I guess what are your goals long term?
I'd like to help out the state of Wyoming as best I can in whatever capacity I can. I'm just focused on the 50-meter target right now, which is August 18th. Lord willing, I win, and I'll get 2 years in the state legislature, and the voters of House District 43 will have something, right now, all you have to go on is what comes out of my mouth, which, talk is cheap these days. But, Lord willing, I win. 2 years from now, you'll actually have my voting record to look at. And if you like what I'm doing, I'm definitely going to run again 2 years from now. If you don't, then vote me on out of office, because I think it's a big problem is we get incumbents, especially here in Wyoming, that get in office. A lot of times they go unchallenged. And they just, so the big thing we need is voters to really engage. I know it's hard. Everybody's got, they're worried about paying their bills and keeping their job and all that. But man, we need more people to really pay attention to what the state government's doing and vote out the folks that aren't doing what you don't want them to do, and vote in folks that are hopefully going to do what you want them to do. And so my ambition definitely doesn't go beyond Wyoming. I'd like to stay in the House as long as I could, maybe move to the state Senate or something someday, but I kind of believe Wyoming is the oasis. I don't think there's much point in working with DC. I don't think you'd be able to get anything done.
So, if elected, will you keep us in contact? Our Facebook group here and everybody in Cheyenne, keep us just in your dialogue of what's going on and what's coming down the pipeline, what we can do as voters. You know what I mean? If we keep continuing to amass a following here, and I think that open communication between these sources would be very beneficial for us.
Absolutely. I like to model myself off of Representative Scott Clem. I think he does a very good job communicating. I see his posts on Facebook all the time explaining things that the legislature's done, things that are coming down the pipe, stuff like that. And I'd like to do that. And if, again, Lord willing, I get elected, if you guys would allow me to communicate through you guys to the voters in House District 43,
would love that.
Yeah.
What are the parameters of House District 43?
It's mostly the Sun Valley neighborhood of Cheyenne, plus a little bit of South Cheyenne right there around LCCC. Kind of Highway 85 is the western border. We got a little slice of Laramie County, pretty much going straight south from Cheyenne to the Colorado border.
Perfect. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I did not. Learn when I was 8 years old and that. Any of you guys have any questions for Mr. Harvey?
I have a burning question.
Yeah.
So I heard that about 60% of the residents in Cheyenne have state jobs or government jobs. How do you plan on reducing government without reducing jobs?
That's going to be a very difficult problem. And ultimately, I believe we're going to just have to reduce jobs, unfortunately. I would do everything I could to minimize that. I think there's some, for example, Wyoming has a 4-to-1 worker to manager ratio, which most state governments are at 8-to-1. And I guess the definition of good government is kind of a high bar, but it's like a 12-to-1 worker to manager ratio. So I think we can do things like kind of reduce the number of managers, increase the number of workers, and hopefully keep more jobs that way. But that's going to be the biggest issue of the next 2 years is how do we get the budget under control, without kicking a whole bunch of people to the curb and increasing unemployment. It's not an easy problem. And I'm sorry, I don't have an easy answer to it right now. But
That's okay. Being awareness and willing to, address it. That's more than half the challenge.
Being aware of that, you know, and yeah, because a lot of people would shy away from that question and go, well, we're going to try to not. Yeah, not, you know, you guys aren't going to lose your jobs, but at some points, and those hard truths got to come out. And they sound good.
John, I got a question for you. First of all, thank you for talking respectfully towards your opponent. There's so much ugliness in the world. I appreciate and respect that. And that's how you talk about your opponent. Just lay out different facts and the differences and not turn into the ugly side. My question is there a way to turn some of these government jobs into contract jobs?
I believe so.
That work for the government. We've already proved it. Just proved that working from home and remote is an option now. Is there a way to take some of these jobs and turn them into contract jobs?
Yes, sir. And to steal somebody else's idea, Senator Tom James had a recent Facebook post where he detailed several places where the different services that the state is providing could probably be better provided by contracting or private, just completely shifting over to the private sector. And that would do a few things. One, that would save the state budget a lot, prevent some taxes in the future, and it would also like save those jobs. Moving from government to private sector, maybe the benefits package wouldn't be as generous, but those people wouldn't just be unemployed. They basically just keep doing what they've always been doing. Just instead of doing it for the state of Wyoming, they'd be doing it for a private company.
Well, it also allows them to branch off and not just have the state as a client. It could also work with the city or with Fort Collins, County, or other, Albany County. There's other ways they can work with their contract labor under the state.
Yes, sir. Big picture. Overall, my philosophy, I believe that the private sector does basically everything better than government, and I think there are certain things that we just have to have government to do. But anything that's not hey, the government has to do this, I think we definitely need to look at, pushing that over to the private sector.
Well, it'll help with healthcare benefits with the private sector, get that out from control of the state too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great question. Two good questions.
I like that. And the private sector, is definitely, look at Amazon. They've taken over, they're about to take over the United States Postal Service.
Just about.
Yeah. I never thought that anyone would compete with Walmart and what they do, and here comes Amazon. It's scary.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other questions for Mr. Harvey?
All right.
Did you got anything you want to say to this big fancy camera here?
No, just like to reiterate, my name is John Harvey, running for House District 43, the conservative small government candidate, pro-God, pro-gun, pro-life, pro-small business, pro-free markets, anti-tax. That's me. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. D. Yeah.